Have you ever wondered why you've been taking DHEA for months, something often promised as the ultimate precursor to testosterone, yet your body doesn't feel stronger, your desire hasn't returned, and you may even feel more tired, more emotional, and less motivated than before? You look at the bottle labeled clinically studied or doctor recommended and wonder why it fails to give you that sense of masculinity you are desperately searching for. But the most unsettling question of all is this. If that DHEA isn't actually raising your testosterone, then what exactly are you increasing in your body every single day? Is it simply doing nothing, or is it fueling the wrong hormone entirely? Welcome to Dr. Emily Carter, Urologist, Men's Health. I'm a board-certified urologist specializing in men's health, and after years of working with men over 40, I've come to a reality that shocks many of them. Most men don't lose their vitality just because of age itself. They lose it because they put their trust in solutions that sound logical, yet are fundamentally wrong for their specific biochemistry. Low testosterone doesn't just make you tired or reduce your libido, it quietly contributes to metabolic problems, cardiovascular risk, and that sinking feeling of not being yourself anymore. In this video, I am not going to speak like an advertisement, and I am certainly not here to sell you a supplement. We are going to talk using scientific data and real-world experiences from men who once placed their hopes in DHEA. Is it truly proven to increase testosterone? And if not, why does taking more often push the body in the opposite direction? If you care about men's health in a responsible and sustainable way, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the truth about your hormones. And before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below telling me how long you have been taking DHEA and if you have actually felt a difference. Your honesty helps other men in this community. Now, before deciding whether DHEA is right or wrong, we need to understand something far more important: how testosterone is actually regulated and why it is never as simple as just taking a pill. Here's a truth very few people will say to you directly. A man's testosterone doesn't drop simply because of age. It drops because your body is receiving the wrong signals. A lot of men assume that if they supplement with a precursor or a prohormone, their levels will automatically rise and they will feel powerful again. But the male body does not work that simply. Testosterone is not an empty gas tank that you can just pour more fuel into. It is a tightly regulated system controlled by the brain, the testes, and a sophisticated network of feedback loops. Think of your body like a thermostat in your home. When the house gets hot enough, the thermostat shuts off the furnace. Your body works the exact same way. Anytime hormone levels rise in the bloodstream, whether that is testosterone or estrogen, your brain gets the message, "We have enough," and it immediately sends a signal to shut down your own natural production. Here's the problem. When you introduce substances like DHEA that can convert into multiple different hormones, your brain doesn't care if you raised your testosterone or if you accidentally spiked your estrogen. It only sees that hormone levels went up and it slams the brakes on your own system. This is exactly why many men start feeling more tired, less interested in sex, and emotionally unstable after starting these supplements. Have you ever wondered why your lab numbers might look better on paper, but that masculine drive inside you still hasn't come back? It is because your brain has stopped the engine. And if your own body is fighting against the pill you are taking, is trying to find a shortcut really the right approach? Because next, we need to talk about the specific group of compounds that are marketed the most, sound the most scientific, yet often become the starting point of the biggest disappointments: prohormones. Many men believe testosterone is like gasoline for an engine. If you're running low, you just pour more in and everything works again. But the truth is, your hormones do not function that way. They are regulated by an extremely sophisticated feedback system involving the brain, the pituitary gland, and the testes, where even a small signaling error can cause the entire system to downshift. When your brain senses that hormone levels in the blood have increased, whether that spike is testosterone or estrogen, it immediately sends a signal that says, "Enough," and shuts down further production. The body doesn't care how you raise those levels, it only reacts to the final result. This is exactly why so many men see changes on their lab tests, yet don't feel their vitality return. Have you ever wondered why a supplement might make you feel better for a week or two, but then everything goes back to the way it was or even gets worse? That is because your internal control system has detected the interference and automatically applied the brakes. And here's the critical part. When you introduce substances that can convert into multiple hormones, your body cannot distinguish between the testosterone you want and the estrogen you don't. The real danger peaks here. You think you are helping your body, but in reality, you are training your brain to shut down its own factory more efficiently. So, if the brain is the one holding the final key, does trying to take a shortcut with pills like DHEA actually give you what you're hoping for? Or are you quietly locking the door to your own vitality? And next, we're going to start breaking down the most aggressively marketed, most scientific sounding, and most misunderstood group of compounds of all, prohormones. When men hear the term prohormone, many of them are immediately sold. The logic sounds flawless. If the body makes testosterone from another substance, then all you need to do is supplement that substance and you are set. But this is exactly where a subtle psychological trap is created. Prohormones are not testosterone. Once they enter your system, they don't follow a straight path. They act more like a crossroads with multiple exits. Yes, testosterone is one of them, but estrogen is an exit that is surprisingly easy to end up on. Have you ever wondered why the exact same pill makes one man feel hot and overstimulated, while another notices chest tenderness or faster fat gain around the belly? That is because each body metabolizes prohormones differently, and you have absolutely no control over which direction that chemical takes. What makes this dangerous is that the brain only looks at the final outcome, whether hormone levels go up or down, and then issues its command. And very often that command is to shut down the body's own testosterone production. Here's the climax of the problem. The very thing marketed as supporting testosterone is often what teaches your body how to function while producing less testosterone than before. So among all prohormones, which one has generated the greatest expectations and the greatest disappointment? Among men? It's time we talk about DHEA. Take androstenedione, for example. It was once seen as a secret weapon because early studies showed that total testosterone levels could rise noticeably after just a few weeks. For many men, simply seeing that number jump on a lab report was enough to believe they were finally on the right path. But what very few people tell you is this: that increase does not last. With continued use, testosterone levels quickly crash back to baseline, while estrogen quietly rises in the background. And rising estrogen in a man is not just a harmless number. It brings very real physical changes that most men fear: breast tissue enlargement, faster fat gain around the waist, worsening cholesterol profiles, and a significantly higher cardiovascular risk. What is even more frustrating is that despite all these hormonal shifts, the one thing you are hoping for never actually happens. Zero muscle gain, zero fat loss, no real strength, and absolutely no improvement in sexual performance or stamina. Think about it. If a pill gives you a sense of hope for a few short weeks but leaves you with consequences that can last for years, can it really be called a solution? And if androstenedione, the most famous prohormone of them all, has already failed, is it realistic to believe that DHEA would somehow work better? Then there is androstenediol. This compound was marketed more subtly, often tied to the concept of free testosterone, the portion of testosterone your body can actually use. For many men, hearing this reignites hope. Maybe this is the missing piece of the puzzle. In reality, studies show a dangerous disconnect. While certain markers like free testosterone or DHT may spike temporarily, your total testosterone often doesn't change meaningfully. The problem is that the male body doesn't operate based on a single isolated number. As estrogen continues to rise and your good cholesterol, your HDL, crashes, the system receives the wrong signals and tightens the brakes on natural testosterone production even further. The end result is familiar. Despite trying a more advanced option, you still don't feel any better. This brings us to the peak of the paradox. The more you try to manually fine-tune your hormones with these compounds, the more your body fights back to protect its original state. Exhausted by these failures, many men turn away from the complex names and reach for something that feels safer, something easier to buy, something widely considered mild and sits openly on pharmacy shelves. That name is DHEA. DHEA is one of the few prohormones that is still widely sold on every shelf, which is exactly why it feels safe. But let's look at the data. Studies confirm that while supplementing DHEA does increase DHEA levels in the blood, and it certainly raises estrogen, total testosterone often remains largely unchanged. More importantly, the metrics that you actually care about, your vitality, the quality of your erections, your muscle density, and your raw strength, do not show meaningful improvement. Now, to be fair, DHEA does have one positive. It doesn't wreck your cholesterol profile the way those earlier, harsher compounds did. But do not confuse safety with success. Just because it causes less harm does not mean it gives you what you're looking for, and as estrogen quietly rises over time, many men begin to notice their bodies changing in ways that feel uncomfortable and unfamiliar. A softening of the chest, a loss of morning drive, a mood that feels heavy. So here's the final and most important question I want you to ask yourself. If every shortcut, every pill, and every workaround has failed to bring back your masculine vitality, where does the real problem lie? And what is the actual physiological path to restoring testosterone after age 40? The answer might surprise you. At this point, if you are feeling a little confused or even unsettled, that is not an accident. The truth is, a lot of men are moving in the wrong direction without even realizing it. They don't lack effort, they don't lack discipline, and they certainly don't lack the money to spend on supplements. What they are missing is just one thing: a correct understanding of how the male body actually works. Testosterone is not something you can stimulate, force, or hack with a quick fix. It is the outcome of a balanced system, one where if you interfere with the wrong link in the chain, the entire system automatically pushes back against you. Let's be brutally honest, if DHEA and other pro-hormones truly raise testosterone in a sustainable way, why are more and more men taking them, yet feeling weaker, more exhausted, and farther away from that sense of control over their own body? What if the issue isn't the dosage, but the entire shortcut mindset? Because the most dangerous moment is when you believe you are doing something good for your body, while in reality, your brain is learning how to shut down your natural production more and more efficiently. And here's the warning question you need to ask yourself right now. Do you want your body to depend on a pill every day? Or do you want it to run powerfully on its own the way it was designed to? Because if you keep intervening the wrong way, what is coming isn't just low testosterone. It is the feeling of losing control over the very thing that makes you feel like yourself as a man. After looking at both the scientific data and real-world experience, the verdict is clear. DHEA has not been proven to increase testosterone in the way men actually want. It may shift a few numbers on a lab report, but it does not deliver real changes in vitality, libido, or that sense of control over your own body. More concerning, when it is paired with a quiet rise in estrogen, it can actually push your hormone system further away from its natural balance. What men over 40 need is not another pill that promises fast results. It is the right strategy. That means understanding your body, respecting its biology, and choosing approaches that help testosterone recover at the root level rather than trying to force it from the outside. Sustainable testosterone doesn't come from impatience. It comes from clear, informed decisions. If this video helped you rethink what you've been doing with your body, subscribe to Dr. Emily Carter, Urologist, Men's Health right now so you can continue following this science-based series. And let me know where you stand. If this content helped you see DHEA and testosterone boosters more clearly, leave a number 1 in the comments. If you are still skeptical, a 0 is always welcome. I respect all perspectives here. In the next video, we are going to break down what actually deserves your time and investment if you want long-term masculine vitality. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, and I'll see you there.